The Last of Us Part 1 PC release date announced. The Last of Us Part 1 is a 2022 action-adventure game developed by Naughty Dog and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. A remake of the 2013 game The Last of Us, it features revised gameplay, including enhanced combat and exploration, and expanded accessibility options. The single-player story follows Joel, who is tasked with escorting the young Ellie across a post-apocalyptic United States and defend against cannibalistic creatures infected by a mutated strain of the Cordyceps fungus. The game includes the expansion, The Last of Us, Left Behind, a single-player campaign following Ellie and her best friend Riley. The original game's online multiplayer mode is omitted. The Last of Us Part 1 is officially coming to PC on March 3, 2023. This was announced at the Game Awards, which took place on December 8, with a fairly dramatic trailer for the Naughty Dog remake. It's worth mentioning, however, that footage in the teaser has been captured from the PS5 version of the game, so it remains to be seen what the PC port will look like. That said, many will no doubt be excited that another system besides PlayStation will be getting this new iteration of TLoU. The remake of The Last of Us released in September for PS5. While the original was a PlayStation exclusive, there had been hopes that the remake would come to PC, and those dreams are about to be fulfilled. However, despite being a rebuild of the 2013 version of TLoU, with updated visuals, improved character models, and tweaks to the gameplay, some may have been skeptical about the studio remaking a game that was less than 10 years old, especially given there was already a remastered version available. On top of that, there's also an HBO adaptation of The Last of Us, which will begin airing on January 15. It will join the ranks of numerous other TV and movie adaptations of popular video games, including Resident Evil, Sonic the Hedgehog, and Uncharted. TLoU show will not be a retelling of the game, but will pull in some aspects from the source material. Whether it will be just as beloved as the game remains to be seen at this stage. Development was led by game director Matthew Gallant and creative director Shauna Skegg, who replaced original directors Bruce Straley and Neil Druckmann. Part 1 was rebuilt to take advantage of updated hardware, requiring new animations, art direction, and character models to align with the vision of the original development team. The visual departments analyzed the original cutscenes and narrative beats to identify crucial storylines and their original direction and purpose. The team expanded upon the gameplay, technology, and accessibility features of The Last of Us Part 2, 2020, using its game engine and building upon it with the updated technology. The cutscenes feature audio descriptions, for which the developers collaborated with Descriptive Video Works. Part 1 supports 3D audio, as well as the haptic feedback and adaptive triggers of the DualSense controller. Following several leaks, The Last of Us Part 1 was announced in June 2022 and released for PlayStation 5 on September 2. It is scheduled for release on Windows on March 3, 2023. It received positive reviews, with praise for its graphical enhancements, facial animations, artificial intelligence, and its added accessibility, audio, and controller options. The response to its gameplay and level design was mixed, and several critics questioned the necessity of a remake, especially considering its price. It received nominations at the Game Awards and Golden Joystick Awards. The Last of Us Part 1 is a remake of the 2013 video game The Last of Us, an action-adventure game played from a third-person perspective. The player traverses post-apocalyptic environments to advance the story, and uses firearms, improvised weapons, hand-to-hand combat, and stealth to defend against hostile humans and cannibalistic creatures known as the infected, who have been infected by a mutated strain of the Cordyceps fungus. For most of the game, player character Joel escorts a young girl, Ellie, across the United States. The player controls Ellie throughout the winter segment, and briefly controls Joel's daughter Sarah in the opening sequence. In the included expansion, The Last of Us, Left Behind, the player controls Ellie as she spends time with her best friend and love interest Riley Abel. The original game's online multiplayer mode is omitted from Part 1, and its narrative is entirely unchanged. The remake features revised gameplay, including enhanced combat and exploration. The overhauled artificial intelligence (AI) allows more non-player characters, NPCs, on screen, with enemy AI acting more aggressive and tactical than in the original game. The Infected received some gameplay adaptations, such as new stalker animations and a charge move for bloaters. New gameplay additions include a permadeath mode, a speedrun-focused mode, and new costumes for Joel and Ellie. The expanded accessibility options include customizable controls, audio description for cutscenes, and haptic feedback during dialogue. Difficulty modes can be customized to change enemy resilience, stealth efficacy, and resource availability. The overhauled photo mode adds several bonus features, allowing visual and gameplay modifiers such as slow motion and infinite ammunition. On PlayStation 5, the game supports hardware features such as 3D audio, and uses the haptic feedback and adaptive triggers of the DualSense controller to emulate gameplay actions such as shooting a shotgun or drawing a bowstring. It can display at native 4K resolution at 30 frames per second, or upscaled resolution at a targeted 60 frames per second, with variable refresh rate enabled. Both modes allow an unlocked frame rate, capable of more than 60 frames per second.